Welcome back to the channel and welcome to episode 71 of C4SVillains. I'm your host JB and I am here with the Council of Villains, my boys Abe and Vash, and we are here to talk about the finale of Miss Marvel. This has been an incredible series. The MCU continues to be undefeated with these Marvel TV shows, and in my opinion they only seem to be getting better and better for the most part. But Vash, Abe, thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode.
It's nice to be here and not, host, because I could just say stuff like cheese on pancakes and stuff like that, where I could just be, less serious as a host, where I could just have fun, support the team and just be a good co-host on the
You're literally
on episodes.
Only saying that because I don't edit this podcast. If I edit it,
don't worry, it's gone
well.
out of the audio. We're only like 1 minute and 30 seconds in. I'm removing it from the audio.
But it's always good to be here. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. It's good to see you all again, especially just to talk about what has been a fun show for me. It hasn't been the best. I to be honest, after this episode, the season finale, it is above Hawkeye for me in terms of my favorite, in terms of like my most enjoyed series of the shows, of the Disney Plus shows. And as you may know, last week I said it, Hawkeye was last. Doesn't mean I hate it. I enjoyed Hawkeye, but this show is above Hawkeye for me. It hasn't been the best perfect ride, but it's been a good story. The emotions hit when it needed to for me, and I had a lot of fun. This was just like one of them. It made me think of the OG Disney Channel original movies, like Clue, Get a Clue, or is it Clueless, Get a Clue, whatever, with Lindsay Lohan, and all that jazz, where you get the gang together, they have some crazy ass adventure. That's what I got from this, and I thought it was fun. It was fitting. And then, of course, as you may see on my background, my backdrop is intentional. Thanks to
Oh yeah, same here. Mine is not intentional.
It's very intentional.
like things were not said at the end, that your genes happening going through your system. So also, I just want to throw a quick jab towards what James said. Like, at least, like James said, like, with Disney, Marvel's, just hitting all cylinders with its Marvel TV shows. At least they're not doing the same with its movies. Because can we talk about next week's show, Thor: Love and Blunder? Again, shout out to Popaholics with that title.
Yeah, it's that review next week is going to be interesting,
spicy,
for sure. But yeah, I've been loving Miss Marvel. Episode 5 is my favorite episode of the season, and we'll talk about that, towards the end. But episode 5, I thought it was incredible. One thing the MCU does really, really well is actual like diversity and inclusion. It's not just like these other shows and movies where they just pick POCs just to hit certain demographics or to improve their ratings. They're actually taking entire episodes so that we can experience a different culture and see Pakistan and see New Jersey through the eyes of Muslim people and Pakistani people. So I really, really appreciated Miss Marvel, and I can't wait to get into the finale. So real quick, just wanted to make some announcements. So Vash, Steve, myself, we had the pleasure of being on the Recast Cast podcast where we were able to cast our own Justice League. That was a lot of fucking fun. So go to the Recast Cast on all podcast platforms. Subscribe to the podcast. Let the crew over there, let them know that we sent you over there. Subscribe to the pod. Leave a comment. Leave a rating. And check out the episodes. The Justice League episode was a lot of fun. We created 5 incredible Justice League movies, and I would love to see any of them get made. So definitely go over there and check that out. Make sure you guys subscribe to the audio-only version of Villains, available on all podcast platforms. I need to upload the last 2 episodes, but most of the episodes are on the audio-only feed, so listen to that while you're driving to work. You can check out our Obi-Wan reviews, and much like Miss Marvel, we have reviewed every single MCU Disney Plus series, so check that out on the audio-only feed. So without further ado, let's get into the finale review itself. When we last left off, we got to see a lot more. Like I was mentioning in episode 5, we got to see the partition, getting to see a little bit of that, and the time travel aspects of this show, the way that Aisha was able to use the bangle to bring Kamala back through time in order to save her daughter. And it's like, it's just cool to see, because this is something that I didn't even think they were going to do. I didn't even think time travel would be a part of the show at all, much less to this degree, to where Kamala is not only a hero to the people in New Jersey like we see in the finale, but she was a hero to her own family. She saved her grandmother. You know, she gave her great-great-grandmother Aisha some closure, knowing that her daughter would be safe. So this show is very, very important. I loved where it left off. Vash, what were you going to say?
I was going to bring up 2 things. One, James, I'd like to hear your quick thoughts about episode 5 since you wasn't on last week. And 2, I didn't get the chance to ask the team last week on the show that I forgot to ask. How do we feel about the time travel aspect? Because what happened in Avengers Endgame when they did the time travel, Bruce Banner and Tony spoke about the time travel, point jabs about Back to the Future and stuff like that. But they did time travel here in this episode after knowing what we know in the MCU verse of what time travel affects. How do we all feel about it? Because I don't think we had the chance to actually have that conversation.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I mean, it fits into the rules, like that was Kamala's future. I think it fits into the rules pretty well. I loved that we heard this great story from her grandmother about how she was led back to the train by stars, and then to see that it was Kamala, seeing how the NORPAD, like energy pad, turned into like these star-like shapes that led her back to her father. I thought it was amazing. I love the time travel aspect. It brought a different level to Miss Marvel that was already filled with a bunch of levels. Like I'm still of the belief that the bangle is Kree tech, much like the 10 rings. And I think using this time travel within the show was done beautifully in the best way possible.
Abe, and you?
Yeah, so I had mentioned this last week. I said that I liked how it was cyclical, like it all fit into itself. Especially for the family story, for that family aspect, I thought it was very wholesome. It helped, again, like I had said, it brought 3 generations back together again. Especially with her finding out the truth. She needed to be the one to find out the truth. You had her great-grandmother who believed the story because, of course, she had experienced it. You had the mother who was like, nah, everybody else, this is something that's just unnatural. Aisha definitely abandoned the family, whatnot. So everybody, her mom and all the relatives believed her to be a disgrace. And then you have the daughter who was just like, I don't know what the truth is, but I know that something is unnatural is happening and I need to learn the truth. And she finds out the truth. And again, she connects them both back together again. So I like that aspect. I like what they did. I'm not going to look at it deeper. That be like, well, how was she able to time travel and not affect anything? Blah, 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 this, that, and the other. I'm not, because for the story, it was dope and it was wholesome and it fits.
I am glad you said that, because I asked a question because I think it was IGN or some other news outlet said that, like, how does that affect the timeline, the time transfer? And when I saw the headline and I read the article, like, are going too deep into it. It's like a movie. Yeah, like this is for the story bit, and this is little technical like a family type of reunion.
But I can't blame
Clearly,
them.
No, I can't blame him either.
The MCU
but-
has done with time travel. They made it be like, yeah, time travel.
I can blame them because there's nothing wrong with it. It fits perfectly into the rules.
It does.
It's just like, what part of the time travel doesn't fit into the rules? She travels back in time. We know that based on the time travel, well, she doesn't see herself. She doesn't.
No, because she's not. She doesn't.
No.
Exist.
She's not there.
Save like her grandmother, like save
well,
her family.
What it was, one of those like fixed points where that's supposed to happen.
That
exactly that's what I'm saying.
That became their present, and that was a part of her future. So it's perfect. It perfectly fits in with the rules. I don't see how it could possibly mess with the continuity of the MCU. Like, I don't get it. It would be like if we got a movie that goes back in time right now. That movie would display the events of Endgame with multiple versions of these characters being in that time because it's now a part of time. Much like Kamala going back in time, it just didn't happen for her yet. So it perfectly fits within the rules. I don't see what the problem is.
Yeah, me as well,
anything.
no problem. It's just that I was curious to see if you guys had any comments to talk about it since I saw on the timeline and plus the article about it. But overall, I had no problem as well. With the whole time, like
that so deeply.
It was a fit point that made sense that it had to happen for her and to continue life. And girl was never born in that spot, so it just made sense for her character.
And honestly, what better way to make the story fit? Like, how else are we supposed to find out the truth that yes, it was, she did see stars. Like
I'm the
magic,
one that was the stars. Yeah,
like come on.
Because her face as a hero to realize, like, I'm the one that saved my grandma. Actually, not the stars or her doing it. I'm the one that actually did. Like, that was more impactful for her character to realize, like, I'm the one that could have, seen my own great grandmother. I'm the one that actually helped her, and also to find out the truth, to tell her mom, like, hey, mom, Grandma Aisha never left us. Girl got stabbed. Girl got killed. Like, so to find the truth that her mom feel like, oh, her grandmother wasn't speaking fantasy. All this fantasy was actually the truth. So, like, it made it all full circle to feel the family, is back together, more union.
Yeah, when we heard the story the first time, I thought that the grandmother activated the bangle, and because she was a little kid, she didn't understand what was happening. So that's what I thought. I never once thought that they would introduce time travel into this. And again, like, when she travels back, like, she takes the picture from Aisha, giving it to her grandmother, now having an actual picture of her own mother because she didn't have a picture of her mother. The only thing she had was the memory of her, and she drew a picture of what she remembered of her face. Like, that was such an incredible moment. Like, brilliant writing, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's dive into this season finale, huh?
Yeah, so let's get into the episode itself. So again, when the last episode ended, we saw that Kamran went to Bruno, and this is where we see his powers activate for the first time. We see the damage control drone, and now they're on the run, right? So when this episode begins, we see damage control at the Circle Q, and we see Agent Deezer. She's there, and she's talking about this is what happens when the wrong people get powers. Now, instantly I was like, is she talking about Muslims with powers? And then she says kids, and I'm like, was that a cover-up? Did she actually mean Muslims with kids? Or like, what did you guys think? Abe, what did you think?
Do you mean these people? Like, hold on, shorty, like my radar started going off, like, yeah, I know I don't like you. I know I don't like your ass. Like, you definitely one of them folks. I thought it was interesting because both answers do make sense. Kids getting powers, it's not going to be the smoothest of experiences as we have seen. But also I thought that, we've played so much on Marvel doesn't shy away from talking about certain topics. And in this topic, it was very clear that they were willing to discuss Islamophobia to an extent. It's not like we had a dissertation or anything, so I'm not going to say like, oh, they're teaching you how to be tolerant. No, they didn't do all that. But they clearly displayed that people look at Muslim people a different way. You know, like you already saw, damage control was already surveilling the mosque. Like they already had him under surveillance. And you saw in this episode with Nakia, she was like, yeah, this is not the safest place, because Bruno was like, oh, you know, this aren't sanctuaries places of safety? I mean, aren't religious establishments places of sanctuaries? Like, not in America, the mosque, is it? Like, no way. We got the damage control on us. We got police department surveillance. We got the CIA. We got everybody. Like, you know, again. So when she said that, I'm like, it can go either way, and both ways would fit. Both ways would fit. Yeah, her face. She has a very hateful face.
Yeah, I definitely don't think we've seen the last of her. I think Deever is going to be back for sure.
She's definitely going to have a vendetta. She's definitely they're going to play on her being like, yo, you are the symbol of intolerance in the MCU.
And like what Merck's saying in chat right now, like it's a lot like the Mutant Registration Act. You know what I mean? It's like you can tell that Deever would definitely be one of those people that will be a part of that. It's like, yo, we need to know what they are. We need to know what they are. We need to register them. We need to know what their powers are. They need to have fucking collars on them, some shit. Like,
girl is gonna transfer the division so fast after, like, oh, I got that. I got fired from damage control. Guess what? I'm gonna switch to a different department that will hunt these people no matter what.
Like, we might see her pushing for that shit because, hey, I smell it coming.
Yo, girl literally said real life bullets to 2 kids at the end.
No, she said non-lethal. She said non-lethal.
No, but I'm saying, but right after they left the
school.
Oh
yeah, she was actually
girl blasted those bullets. I'm like, where
that was live streamed. I'm like, do you not even have the common sense to know that you shouldn't be shooting at kids on
I'm like,
live,
ma'am,
bro?
She didn't give a
like, damn. Do you not realize that you're literally doing this with a crowd of people, cops of New Jersey, and live stream, and you literally said non-lethal weapons? What happened to that like 10 minutes ago? What happened?
You remember? I mean, are you surprised in this country? Are you surprised?
Exactly. Which I'm glad, and that's Karen was just working there.
It's also ridiculous that these people can't just practice their religion without being seen as terrorists. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's like, yeah, anyone who practices the Muslim faith, they're all terrorists, all of them. It's fucking ridiculous. Like
9/11 helped solidify and gave people the biggest reason to be Islamophobic. And it's unfortunate, you know, that it's weird because we allowed a small, very fanatical group dictate the whole religion.
Yep.
But meanwhile, Christianity has done a lot worse.
Dude, don't even get me started.
Yeah, you know what? Let's not get into religion. But yeah, she definitely one of them folks. And Mark, I'm glad you mentioned the Mutant Registration Act, because who knows? Maybe we're gearing up. She's gonna play we gonna see her again during that time, you know, leading the charge.
Yeah, man. And this is what Feige and the MCU does really well. We just came from Multiverse of Madness. We saw Professor Xavier. We saw Mutant in 838. Now we're getting Kamala Khan, the first mutant in 616 the first confirmed mutant in 616. And then guess what? In Wakanda Forever, hey, Namor's a mutant. We are moving closer and closer to mutants being the new norm. This is what they do so fucking well. So let's move on to Kamran and Bruno on the train. And this is where his powers start to get a little bit out of control. So Vash, starting with you, what did you think about the portrayal of his powers? Because it's very different from how it is in the comics. So what did you think about that?
Yeah, it kind of threw me off with his type of power. And like you just said, like comics to now. But again, like she just said, a redo of Civil War. I'd love to see the actual Civil War comic being adapted, like the storyline. But like Marvel does, they take adaptation, they take storyline, they take bits and pieces. So with that being the case, with his powers, it's different. It reminds me, like people have said and compare the Green Lantern. It depends on your will. Right now, our boy here, Kamran, literally just got attacked by his whole power being activated. Like maybe could his mutation gene, if you want to go straight to the pun already intended, and he's like an atomic bomb. He doesn't know how to use his power. He doesn't know how to activate it. He doesn't know how to control it. He's literally having a panic attack with a mix of anxiety, with a mix of hyperventilation all at once because he doesn't know what just happened. At the same time, he literally doesn't know what happened to his mom. His Even though I don't know why he's still asking, like, yo, bro, like your mom dead ass left you, dead ass just dropped you. So for powers wise, it's interesting. It's literally almost the same exact powers as Algar Kamala, but you know what? They changed the color scheme just to have it very different to each other because the audience could tell the difference. But it's intriguing. The thing I'm curious to know, how does it work exactly once he knows how to master it? Is it exactly like Kamala, or is it more like he could send like rays, he could build stuff? Because every time he exploded, he has like a sphere, some type of force shield. Like it was very mixed. So it looked like a mix from his powers from the comics, but also a mix on the show to like Kamala. So I can't wait for us to get more information, dive into once we meet him again in the future, which it will be interesting where or what type of property will we see him again. Because if we see him somewhere else, why will he be there? So I'm really curious.
I'm kind of tired of the antagonist having the exact same power as the protagonist.
But
it's starting
is he antagonist?
That's why I did quote marks, right?
Okay.
He's the antagonist of this episode. They technically do fight. So it's like I'm kind of tired of the trope of them having the exact same powers, because it is the exact same powers, right? It's just different because like it came from his mom, right? And it more resembles like bits and pieces of the other dimension. So it's like it's going to be cool to see the way he uses it differently from Kamala. Obviously, she's going to use it more like how she uses it in the comics with embiggening her limbs, and I'm sure he'll find like another way to use it with like the spikes and everything. I can't wait to get into that. But Abe, like what about you? Like what did you think about like the use of like his powers and it being so similar to Kamala's, and the fact that it came from his mom?
Yeah, so I thought that it coming from his mom always meant that it was going to be unstable in some form or fashion because it was just forced upon him. Whereas Kamala just innately had this, and the bracelet helped activate it. It was there. It existed. For him, he was missing that aspect because he's also half. He's not full on clandestine. So again, especially the circumstances for how he got it. The last time we saw something like that was with Aisha using her abilities to enchant the bangle and allow for this time loop opportunity. The mom low-key did the same, and we'll see. His body needs to adapt, and we only have an episode to do it. It would have been weird if he had his powers and he was already like, yeah, nothing's wrong. It's like, oh, that seems really cheap, because this is it. We don't know when we're going to see him again. The different color scheme help. I am okay with them being similar just because it shows that these two, that they are related. They're cousins in the sense of we share the same blood. We're both clandestines. We're both half clandestines. So it made sense that they're kind of keeping it simple and saying that these are abilities that clandestines can have, that Jin can have, even though we've only seen up to this point the abilities of Kamala. The Najme and the others didn't show any type of abilities like Kamala has. They were just really, really good fighters who had weapons that were, for the sake of the word, enchanted. They're mystic weapons. So yeah, Kamran having a similar one, the different color schemes so they can be like, hey, it's the same, but there's a little distinction. That way you can tell. I did like, and I'm glad you mentioned this, I did like how it was more Spike-like. It really showed the difference in how they can wield it, because with Kamala, none of her abilities look like it's how she portrayed her abilities. She threw out something to walk on, so it's circles. She's using circles. When she blocks, she makes like a shield. Even when she decided to like, yo, how am I going to deal with this threat? And big, and she gets big. Kamran, he's been from a more his background is different. He knows how to fight. So it being Spike like is like, yeah, he's gonna probably wield it in a way like he could really fuck you up. Like he could make you bleed or something like that. And he could break your body because that's how he fights, as you can see. Kamala's not a fighter. So for her to wield it in such a fighting role would have been really weird for someone who doesn't know how to fight in the first place. For Kamran, yeah.
I'm curious of how he could activate his powers without some type of conjure. Like the way I see Kamala is that she always had these powers, but with the wristband, it kind of activated her powers to actually beat her because of your mutation. Because the way I see it with a wristband is kind of like Thor's hammer. Thor is not the god of hammers. Thor is the god of thunder. But with his hammer, he could use that to wield it to point, with the way his father in the MCU has said is that the Thor helps him with the hammer to know where to aim the thunder and such.
Yeah, but that's not how it's explained on Miss Marvel at all, is it? Like the power is in the bangle itself. No, the power is in the bangle. And the bangle is connected to the Nord dimension.
So her energy of the inside her body.
Of the Nord dimension. And she's able to access that power and wield it and bend it while wearing the bangle. She has to be wearing the bangle. The X gene inside of her was activated when she wears the bangle, but both of them have to work together. Like the bangle connects her to the Nord dimension, and her mutation allows her to bend the power of the Nord dimension. So it's a little bit different because it's not inside her technically, because if she takes the bangle off, her powers don't work. Versus Thor doesn't actually need the hammer. It just amplifies his power and allows him to fly. It's not really the same thing.
Yeah, and that's probably another reason why for Kamran he was so unstable, because there was no like conduit. It was directly within him. Because again, we haven't seen that yet in this show. So this was their own different take. Like Kamran is when he eventually is going to be able to, process it and maybe be able to channel it better, whether that's still through his body or they make him an item too, which we don't know. Because there's still the second bangle that we're missing. Remember? Yeah. Maybe if he'll be able to wield that or something similar, then maybe they'll find another artifact. But that's why it also made sense for why it was so unstable for him, because he's just getting that raw power straight into his body.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll learn more about it, as we get to like the Marvels and like future stuff, we'll learn more about exactly how her powers work. But based on what I saw from the show, what they told us, especially like listening to like the exposition from Bruno, it's clear that the bangle is the connection between her and the Nor realm, and her mutation allows her to use it, right? Because why couldn't Aisha like have powers, or like her daughter, or any of them? You know what I mean? Like and they've all had the bangle, so it's like her mutation allows her to control it. But again, we'll learn more. That's just how I interpreted it from the show. So let's keep moving here. So we get back to Kamala's house, and she finally reveals to the whole family that she's Nightlight, right? And they all already know. I think it's fucking hilarious that she told her mom told her dad, and he just blabbered, and everyone knows about it already. And I love the fact that her mom got her the costume. I love that every piece of her costume comes from a family member, a friend, or someone she met that means a lot to her in her journey, right? So that was something really important to me. So Abe, I'll start with you. How important was it for you to finally see like her mother come around, embrace her being a hero, and giving her the costume?
I mean, we got to remember, this is a family show. The plot of the story has always been about the family dynamic. The previous episode, we got to see the 3 generations of women linked together, but we still had to resolve her own family situation. Like, she did ruin her brother's wedding. That has to be addressed in some way. And again, now that the mom is accepting, she still has a dad who's very much involved in her life. How do they take it? So this coming out that she was going to do, and then being like, oh my, yeah, her brother was like, oh my God, I am so shocked. And then for like, well, you see, when you tell Ami about it, Ami's going to tell Abu, and Abu is always on speaker, so that's how me and Mama, that's how we all found out. And they were so accepting. I mean, the family has always come off as accepting. You never thought like they would be gung ho against, no, you can't do it this way or this or that way. It was just like, yo, this is something that's scary and dangerous. Like, they just needed to understand. And with the mom understanding, everything else fell into line. Of course, like Dad says, is that you're amazing. You're amazing. I just am worried about you being in danger, which is what any father, any parent should feel for their child. And the fact that Dwight was like, so are you on limited battery or do you have to recharge? And it's like, so was it a game time decision breaking that boy's leg, like dropping
I love that scene.
What was it was again the family. Like, don't forget, this is a family that has always embraced each other and they love each other. Like, they're not this, I'm the rebellious daughter who hates my parents, fuck them, and my parents look at me as a failure. It's not that. This is a wholesome content. So I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. I was chuckling. I was laughing.
I agree with Abe. Is exactly 100% of what the brother said. Like, so was it like a just quick decision? Do you let the boy just break his ankle, or what has it? Like, I just love how this is like, I was still learning my part. Like, okay, just gives it not. And I just love how his new wife acts like, so do you have unlimited powers? What's going on? Like, I'm still learning, but this scene was powerful for two reasons. One, because we have seen from the 5 episodes already that her family, like Abe just said, they're accepting, but they're also very nosy and everyone knows each other's business within the family. And two, that leads up to it. Immigrants family could understand this. Any Black, Hispanic, any family that are immigrants are nosy as fuck. Because if you're a son or daughter and you say, hey, mom, I'm gonna go with my friend. And if you tell your parents a name that they do not recognize, they'll be like, who are they? Have I met the parents? Do I know them? They will ask 21 questions because they want to know you're safe and you're going with somebody they know. So for Abu to just say, hey, I trust you. I know you're a good woman. I raised you. I know you're amazing. I know you're a great daughter, but I just want to know you're safe. Abe hit it on the nail on that, because any parent would love to know that their daughter, if they're being a superhero, is safe. And also, this is homage to an immigrant family knowing about their daughter or son being a superhero, because guess what? Our boy Peter Parker have it. Usually don't tell Aunt May until years later that he's been, Spider-Man Peter Parker. Like, yes, saying yes, being straight blank. He's a white boy at the time in high school, and he's trying to protect Aunt May or his people around him. But anybody that's an immigrant family already knows that they have superpowers, and that's what I love about that scene, because it's beautiful. And to follow up, that our girl Kamala found out about Bruno being in trouble and then tried to go up and save, and then the mom was like, hey, before you go, I got a present. And it was so cute in the coffee.
Like, you're not going like that. Not in that outfit.
But in the coffee box too. It's like, mom, you did us put it in the coffee box. But it's just funny because they did us chew on the hard ass coffee drops. So that was cute. But just showing of the red dagger scarf, showing of the same threading that of the late I forgot the dude that helped them out, but the red dagger type of mentor, like, oh, that was beautiful. Like, to know, and the mom had time. It shows that there's some type of time skip, like probably a couple of days, because there's no way the mom threaded that shit so fast. So like there's time, some type of 3 days or week time skip, but to show that it was very beautiful. Like the mom to actually make a superhero suit for your daughter, knowing that she's gonna go out to save people, like that's some dedication, that's some love. So it was dope.
Yeah, man. I love that scene.
And also, just real quick, again, when it comes to what has Marvel been doing in Phase 4, when they show you other cultures, they've been showing you like, yo, this is what family means. Because when we go back to Shang-Chi, remember when we talked about the same thing, you see how crucial the family dynamic is to Awkwafina's character's family when we're over there. When we first visited, she's living with her grandmother, who's also, the mom lives there. Family is important to these cultures that not a lot of people are experienced to, and I'm glad that they kept with that in Pakistani culture, family is important. It's always been about family. And Shang-Chi, family was important. It's always been about family. And every project so far in Phase 4, family is important. It's all about family. Even with WandaVision, it's like family is important for her.
And plus, about Sam Wilson as well. With Sam Wilson, his sister, and also Sam Wilson to know what's going on with all the Winter Soldier stuff like that is very true. So like it shows about the family aspect. You know, him trying to get money from the bank to save his own family business, the house and everything else. Like that shows more family.
Phase 4 is really just a family phase. Honestly, I'm gonna just call it the family phase because that's
people like to criticize Phase 4, and I don't understand. Yes, Store 4 is family, but I'll talk more about that later next week.
It's like the second season of a TV show, and people don't realize it. Like,
thank you, James.
The Infinity Saga gave us a bunch of action. It was just let's get the Avengers together. They're doing shit, but Phase 4 is actually getting us a look into their lives. What makes them tick? We don't know anything about these fucking heroes besides the fact that they just show up every movie and they kick ass, right? Like, we don't know anything about them. We, like you guys already alluded to, we learned about Sam's family, you know, learning more about Kamala's family and all of these different things. That's the important part about Phase 4 and this next saga. It's all about family and diving deeper into these characters and learning things that we didn't know before.
Because let's realize, I mean, and there's several reasons. I'm gonna use Black Widow as an example. There's several reasons why Black Widow never got her origin story, of course, prior to Kevin Feige. But we never really got to connect with her in the Infinity Saga. So like her loss, at least for me, I was like, oh, okay, I mean, you have to go. That's why for me, everybody's loss, and especially, you know, people cried, oh, you know, Spider-Man and Tony Stark, that was so emotional. I was like, because aside from, I mean, I know this Tom Holland Spider-Man movies got us into a bit more of family, but we were never able to connect with these characters like that. You know, I couldn't feel empathy for them. I couldn't see myself in their lives. I couldn't see myself and see how are they moved by certain events. It was kind of just like, yo, it's bang, bang, action, action, action. Here, now and then we're going to show you like family aspect, i.e. Black Panther, you know, but it's not all the time. We just here to fuck shit up and fight the villain. But like you said, in Phase 4, it's been like, yeah, we got this bigger issue, but how is this affecting our personal lives? Like we're giving you a glimpse into our personal lives so you can start to connect with us better. So when we do get the eventual losses, it's going to hit harder. It will definitely hit harder for those, because you're now invested. You see how Kamala lives her life. You see how Shang-Chi lives his life. You see how even Black Widow in her movie, you see like, oh, Yelena, you saw what family meant to her. You got, it wasn't even about her.
Girl
and yet
cried
you got
in her room.
You got to connect with Yelena more, you know, with her, with the Black Widow movie, and then with the Hawkeye show. And for Clint Barton, this is allowing us to see his person. We always knew family was important to him, but it's like, so what? Because you're still going off and having these adventures. But now in the Hawkeye show, we're like, yo, you are really trying to make up for not being there for your family. You are trying so hard, and it just keeps pulling you back. I don't understand why people are so against that. Like, what? Why do you care? Why do you hate Foundation? Why do you hate character?
They just want action, dude. And believe me, we're getting there. Secret Wars.
We're gonna get it.
We're going towards another multiversal war. The multiverse is breaking. Kang's coming. Dude, we're getting into the shit. Don't worry.
I tell people, Phase 4 is Saga 2 Act 1. Phase 5 is Saga 2 Act 2. Phase 6 is Saga 2 Act 3, and then we go to Saga 6. I mean, we go to Saga 3 if that happens. But I've always told people, Saga 1 was Phase 1, 2, and 3. Now we're in Saga 2. It doesn't always have to be. There's always a beginning, middle, and end. Just because we're in Phase 4, don't mean that we continue action again. No, we go back to our roots. We continue in building. We destroy the pillar of the Empire. Now we rebuild. The Avengers are no more. We just gotta do a whole new team. That's it. That's in the comics.
Will y'all care about this team if we just randomly just said like, yo, so here's Kate Bishop, all this stuff without like giving them their backstory? who would care? I wouldn't care about these guys.
Exactly.
Like, oh, everybody's replaceable at this point. All right, let's go see how they fight and
it's like
come back.
It's not a fucking cartoon where you just every episode is just the next villain of the week and then you just continue going.
Exactly.
Like, do you not want anything? But anyways.
So look, chat.
We could
So
talk
chat
about
and
that
fans,
forever.
if y'all are enjoying this conversation, share this to your friends and family. If you guys enjoy our good takes, that's all I'm gonna say. Share this, people. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's cut to Kamran and Bruno when they get to the mosque. I thought this was really, really interesting. So Nakia, like we already alluded to, tells him like, yo, like you can't stay here. Like, yes, this is a place of worship, but we're being watched by everyone, Homeland Security, the police, everyone. You can't stay here. And I love the fact, you know, the damage control, they show up, they ask for everyone's IDs, they search the entire building, and they finally escape. And then we get the really cool scene where they finally get to see Kamala in her suit for the first time. I absolutely love this, watching her running on the nerve pads or whatever you want to call them, running through the city, watching her, like her reflection. Like it was so cool to just watch her running around the city.
Girl was polite to actually stop at the red light.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That was so
like,
cute. Like, girl was a polite person because I'm sorry. If
what
I'm going
air
over
traffic
the
you
cars,
expecting?
right? I'm like,
I wanna know.
it was so cute of the
It was
angle
cute,
still,
yeah.
you know, showing the feet. Like, come on, red. Like, anytime now, I'm like, you're so adorable. It shows you're a good student. You're nerdy, and it fits your character. So it just fitted real well. I don't know who decided this. If it was a writer, director, but they did a great decision because this fitted for a character. It was cute. It was amazing.
Because it also showed that, like, you know, she doesn't have an ego about her. Because naturally, what would we do? We just keep going. Like, we don't need to obey traffic laws. Not saying that we're egotistical or anything like that. It's just like, yo, you would, even if you were doing that in there, you would stop at red lights.
Oh, hell no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I'll run that shit.
All of us would continue. It doesn't mean that we're egotistical, but the fact that she doesn't shows that, you know, she's still respectful of.
Spider-Man.
The laws still
apply
apply to her. Yeah, you know, the laws still apply to her. She doesn't have the sense of like, I'm above the law. And, you know, if she does get to that moment, it's going to be a very different, it's going to show a deviation from her character. So it just fit. It was cool. I thought seeing her in her costume going, this was like her Spider-Man moment, as you said, just swinging through the streets of New York. This is her swinging through jumping, leaping through the streets of Jersey City. I was like, it's cute. It's cute,
Yeah,
you know.
it's so good,
and
man.
the Bruno Kamran, I like. We haven't really seen them together so much, especially since we have. It's like, oh, Brian, and no, I'm jealous, blah blah blah. But like now their life is in danger, and they're bonding through tragedy. I would say in this moment, and I thought like it was nice to see that. It was nice to see the fellas get together, and especially since they are two people of importance in Kamala's life. You know,
Agreed.
You have the best friend who's really in love with her, and you have the love interest, someone that can understand her better than anyone else can, given what their family is. And, you know, she fits his ideal of what she wants as a man. So you can build on that. You're giving her these important relationships, and seeing them at least begin to bond was nice, because they don't always need to be at odds. You know, just because he's in love with her doesn't mean like, oh yeah, we're gonna put her into a love triangle where both fellas are like, fuck.
I love that.
If it was on the CW, they would have they would have spent an entire season on this shit.
And
AKA Vampire Diaries, which, you know, is the whole series is at least up to season 3. We're still on that Elena, Stefan, Damon love triangle. Like, oh yeah, I hate you. It's just like, yes, thank you.
You got to throw Matt in there too. Poor little Matt.
Oh, yo, okay. I will say this.
I'm so clueless about this. I've never seen this series or heard of this series.
Bonnie was holding that show, and Matt was holding that show, because Matt, you know why Matt ended up hating him as an adult? Made perfect sense. Y'all kept fucking with this man. Y'all wouldn't leave him alone. He just wants to live his goddamn life. Oh my God.
But on the other hand, I do want to give a shout out to my boy Miguel. Got a girlfriend, Konakia. So, you know, boy was proud to get like, hey, so I'm trying to have my boyfriend Miguel here. So, and boy was like, hey, I just want to put this on the record. Do you have a body
Are
cam
you wearing
or
a body
pictures?
cam? I
Oh,
want to commemorate this moment.
Boy was proud of it. He's like, yeah. I said boyfriend. I heard that. You guys heard that too? I was like, damn. He must be so proud to get admitted for once. I'm like, hey, I guess you had to help out, Bruno and Kamran in some way. So I guess you just threw yourself under the bus. It was cute scene. Not needed, but it was cute.
Yeah, I've been loving this show so much, man. So they meet in the alley. Kamran starts to lose control of his powers. We start to hear Najma's voice calling out to him. And then Kamala calls, what was his name? The Red Dagger kid. I can't remember his name right now. I need to go look it up. But she calls him, say, hey, like, I need your help. Like, we need to get Kamran out of the city. I know he's Jinn. I know he's a clandestine, but I need your help. And I love that he's willing to help too. Because again, if this was on the CW, it would have been playing up for drama. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that would have been the other love triangle. Then it would have become a love
quadrillion,
whatever. Like he was like, yeah, she got all these love interests. It's like, oh come on, man, what are y'all doing? Y'all so dramatic. Thank goodness the CW does not touch anything Marvel related. Thank goodness.
Dude. Thank fuck. But yeah, man, like I love that she calls in a favor. And she's going to be able to help him out. But first, they need to get to the high school so that they can hide out. Now, I'll be honest. I think the high school stuff might be some of the weakest stuff in not just this episode, but probably for the season for me. It's fine. It's very, like, Home Alone-esque. Like, it's cool that they're setting up traps in the high school. Like, it works, but it doesn't necessarily work for me.
And his name is Kareem.
Kareem, yes.
Kareem.
Yeah,
no,
so it doesn't necessarily work for me. So, Abe, starting with you, what did you think about the scenes at the high school? Like, let me get some of your favorite moments. I personally like them setting up the plan. It's like, okay, cool. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the fire extinguishers to create a smoke screen. We're gonna get the softball launchers to distract the DODC. We're gonna set up all of these different traps. It's cute, but let me get some of your favorite moments.
So for me, I can see why you feel that way, and I'm not by far saying this was strong, but for me, it was fun. I had fun with it because this is a Disney property, and it felt so Disney. It's like, if you're gonna do something like this, doing it with Kamala made the most sense. Like, if you did something like this with any other character in the MCU, I would have been like, all right, this shit is corny. Like, this, all right, you're doing too much. But I thought it was, first of all, Zoe joining them and Nakia and Zoe having that moment of like, yo, so you knew and you ain't say shit? That's not like you. And it's like, well, she should have the right to say it when she's ready. And you know what? Because she said that, I'm like, I know whose side she's on when the Mutant Registration Act come out.
Facts.
So we might see her. Mark, you have put that idea. That is the next thing that we're getting into. We are for sure geared up. They are planting an Easter eggs for that event. That's what they're doing right here. But it showed that, hey, that some people can be tolerant, because we have the intolerance character in Deevers. Now Zoe is one who's like, oh yeah, she's haughty, she's haughty, Haughty, let me make sure I iterate that. She's very bratty, but she's also tolerant and can be respectful and whatnot.
That's another real quick. That's another thing that I appreciate, that Zoe wasn't just like a one-note piece of shit, like high school bitch. I appreciate that. Again, something the CW would not do. But continue.
No, they would not. They would have kept her as is and kept throwing her in there and being like, she would have been bullying Kamala, and then Kamala would have a reason to like hurt her, kind of thing. Nah, CW, you're trash.
I was just gonna say, like, I love how the brother was also part of this. Like, he wasn't.
I came in through the bathroom window. I went to high school. And I'm like, okay,
right? Like, but it just worked very coincidence. Like, we can all admit that everyone met at the high school very close. Like, Zoe was just here because her skills are like, oh, the theater has great lighting. I'm like,
has great lighting. This is where I shoot my TikToks.
I'm like, you cannot go to your own crib, your own bathroom. Can't you just buy some studio lights, like any type of YouTuber?
Why buy studio lights when you can just break into your high school and just use the studio?
But here's the thing.
But
it's
at the same night, that Kamala and everyone is getting threatened like the same night?
I'm sure she's shooting
always
TikToks
there.
every
Yeah.
night though, or
Yeah,
every
she's
other
always
night.
there.
Like, come on, she has like
It's
half
a Saturday
million
night.
followers. Yeah,
You know, content creators at Vash, content creators are willing to do some wild, desperate things. You know, just to
Okay,
make
you are
that
right.
content. Yeah,
You're right.
So
exactly.
You got point there.
we aren't surprised. We aren't surprised that she's at her school on a Saturday night shooting TikTok videos because she's fucking TikTok famous. I'm not surprised. But in terms of the plan, my favorite scenes was when they used the fire extinguishers. That was a funny way to get all that motherfuckers. Everybody was like, they're multiplying. Wait, he can multiply too? It was very Home Alone-esque, and it was just so funny to me. And then my second favorite one was when they got into the chemistry room and they did the chemical reaction, so all that foam would come out, and it just weighed out everybody. I was like, yeah, they're not. Nothing lethal is going to happen here. These are kids and an adult. These are kids. That she's not like the violent person that's going to break your bones. That's not her. That's not Kamala at all. Kamala's going to do stuff that is very like relaxed in terms of, when it comes to fighting. I'm not here to kill you or break you. I'm just trying to stop you. So all these little plans and whatnot fit that mold. No one got hurt. I mean, the fucking softball thing, it wasn't even shooting at him that fast. If it was a baseball, I'd be more concerned.
I mean, softballs are pretty hard, bro.
They are hard.
Okay, but James,
look mad slow.
Yeah, but not going like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah,
it was like probably 20 miles, or like maybe 10 miles an hour.
And plus they are wearing body armor, so it hurts less, But if it was baseball, I would have been like, oh, especially with the smaller circumference. I'm like, oh, y'all screwed.
That non-lethal weapon, it was a sonic wave. That didn't look really non-lethal. Like, it looked, if it hit you, it could still hurt you. Like,
yeah, it definitely did. It was
because,
taser still hurt.
Yeah, beanbag rounds still hurt. Rubber bullets still hurt. Those are non-lethal. They can still hurt at high speed.
True, but thing is, those sonic wave blasts literally hit the tables and chairs. It literally blasted them a bit far. So I'm like, y'all gonna use this against kids still? Like, what?
And you saw what happened when Cameron got hit.
He literally hit the wall.
But it didn't kill him. It is technically non-lethal.
But you gotta realize that when they're dealing with superheroes, you expect them to have higher tolerance than normal human beings anyway. True. Especially since you don't know what their abilities are. So you can assume they can take it better than others. But those happen to be my favorite scenes: the fire extinguisher part and then the foam. I thought like, hey, this is. It just made so much sense for this show to have something like this. You had to have seen it coming at some point. It's so Disney. Out of all the shows, this one is it's much more Disney than Marvel, honestly. It's Disney with a Marvel skin, whereas the other ones are Marvel. This one felt like this is a Disney original series.
My counter to that is that this scene of the whole thing of Kamala telling the squad, so this is what we're gonna do, remind me a bit of Spider-Man No Way Home when our three Peter Parkers were being nerds. The same to Kamala and our Bruno, they were doing the nerd stuff, and the whole whiteboard telling literally the whole plot of the rest of the 20-minute, aka 30-minute episode. Small spoiler of, can I say that? No, because James, I was gonna say the whiteboard of Thor. That's kind of, I don't want to say too much.
Save that for Friday.
So for those that have seen Thor Love and Thunder, you understand what I mean by that very ambiguous whiteboard. That's all I'm gonna say. So, but those two was one of my favorite scenes because they was probably playing homage to, probably Spider-Man No Way Home. We do know the actress that plays Kamala is a big fan of that movie and also a big fan of those characters that have played those characters over the years. So they probably play homage to the scenes and everything else. Also, I like for Zoe, like James said, Zoe was not a one-note character. I thought she was going to play the bully, but she actually was a friend and also really did respect Piganaki even asked her, so if you knew the whole time, why didn't you say anything? And just saying that line, like, I was not the one to say that's her secret. I'm like, oh, girl, that's like a good 20 points right there of respect for you right there. For you to say that's not your secret to reveal, and that's when I got Kamala wants to reveal it. Like that's a lot of props because a lot of people when I do that, and also for you to say that you are technically TikTok famous, and then for you to say that you don't want the extra followers to say, oh yeah, I do know her secret, but that's not for me to share. That's also a lot of respect to say that. But also, I don't think you should say it on social media because that means people could hunt you down, aka damage control, aka the people in the government could technically ask you who she is, the identity. So be careful what you say, Zoe. 2 or 3. I like how they was very smart with executing everything because Bruno, her brother, I forgot her brother's name, but they were all. Thank you, Amir. They were all very useful to play their role, and they all look like they had fun too doing this, which was very weird. Like, being chased by the government, but look like we're smiling, doing the bicycle, doing the fire extinguisher. Like, look like you're having more fun than should. So it was a good scene. Like James said, this kind of remind me a bit of High School Musical. A bit, I don't know why, probably because of high school and everything, or probably with the scenes, but it fit for her character because she is a junior in high school. So it fit for the scene, it fit for the show, but I get where they came from because it's very Disney-like more than Marvel-like, but it had that type of Marvel little sprinkles, so it worked.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't hate it. Like I still think it's good. I think this show is so good. It's just it's one of the weaker sequences in the series for me. But one of my favorite moments was just like, and again, this is a very mature thing to do that the CW wouldn't do. But Bruno kind of walks in on this really like intimate moment between Kamran and Kamala, right? And instead of blowing up about it, he's like, yo, you guys need to leave. I'll distract them, get him out of here, right? So I fucking love that scene because he gets out there and he starts dancing like he's trying to like,
and then they fucked him up.
He's trying to redo the like Pakistani dances that he learned for the wedding. And then it's like, the DODC, they just jumped him and pushed his head into the fucking glass.
You're like, he got
no lie.
up.
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked they did that. Literally just smack him down first with a no question and make sure it's the right dude. They literally said, oh, red sweater, it has to be the clone. Boom. I'm like,
They was fed up. They was fed up at this point. they was tired of it all.
Like you guys were talking about, the moment with Zoe, I thought that was a very mature thing for her to do because she could gain a lot of followers by revealing Kamala's identity, but she doesn't because she has mutual respect. It's not my place to do that. And Kamala saved my life. Why would I betray her? Right? So I thought that was really, really cool. Actually, the more we talk about it, the more I'm enjoying this scene. But another thing that I thought was really, really funny is with the softball launcher, no one thought to put like a machine behind them to cover all of their bases. But it's like, why would they? They're fucking kids, dude. It's hilarious. So it worked.
I do want to add. It was fun.
I do want to add to what you said. I'm happy when Bruno was just still standing there. And then when Kamran was trying to say something, but then they both knew not to say anything. Like they both had like a mutual respect. Like, hey, just go. And then Bruno knew what to do. Like James said, if it was a CW, they would have had an emotional 1 minute, 2 minute guy scene. Like, hey, bro, I'm sorry about saying that. I like her too. But I love how the show didn't need that. They just had, guys look in the eye. They both, bromance, sorry, not bromance, but like, hey, we both guys, we understand shit. I go, we have the mission. Leave. I go and distract them. I just love how the scene was handled.
Yeah, same. Another thing that I wanted to mention here was Agent Cleary calls Deever and tells her, yo, bad press, this is not good for us. Like, we should not be here trying to catch kids, especially since Zoe went out on live. She asked everyone to come to the school and support. Everyone's there. They're live streaming. They're recording.
Well, that was
they're
before.
Taking pictures.
That was before that happened.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So he already was saying like, hey, yo, you're making noise. You're making waves. Chill. And then it escalated further with Zoe. And that was funny. That's why when they said like, yo, the star of the show, the star of this plan is Zoe herself. And we're wondering what you meant by that. Of course, let's use her social media influence. And it made things so much worse.
My thing is, what does this mean for the DODC going forward? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? They're probably going to get new leadership. Like, I don't know. Does Cleary get a promotion? Does he get fired? You know what I mean? Who knows?
Because he's biased too, remember? When he first interviewed Zoe, he was like, the enhanced human who tried to kill you, right? Like, he was trying to... So it's not like, oh, he's perfect. He's just more sensible than Deever is.
Yeah, he's actually willing to work within the law.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know, why is she so determined to capture? Like, is it because she hates, people with powers? Like,
probably.
Does she believe that our boy, the reign of Thanos, was right? Like, does she believe that, like, why we need us people with powers?
She probably lost someone in New York. Who knows?
Yeah, because like, girl was very determined to capture them, even on school night and everything like that. Like, why was she so determined on the side?
And she called for that people with powers are dangerous. So she had to have lost someone or something, or she might just be a fanatic. You know what I mean? Much like General Ross, right? Like, he just has, like, he's on a power trip, right? He doesn't like that he's not the one with his finger on the button for the nuke, and he just doesn't like it, right? So it could be that too. It could just be her ego that it's like, well, we're supposed to be policing everything, but we can't control these soups, right? So it could be something like that. Agreed. So we get outside of the high school. Kamran and Kamala get outside of the high school after they fight inside because Kamran's not controlling his powers. He's fighting against damage control. And this is something that I can't remember his name, but the leader of the mosque, he said something very important. Just because I'm paraphrasing, but just because someone is showing themselves to be your enemy, that doesn't mean that you have to, give that energy back to them. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But he goes against that, and they're shooting after him, and he attacks them, right? And I love that Kamala's powers, like you mentioned, Abe, are very passive. She creates shields. She creates in ways for her to like run and like shield herself, versus Kamran's powers are spikes, more for offense. So it's very cool to watch that dynamic. So he gets outside and he's scared, right? He doesn't know what to do. He wants to try to get away. He's using his spikes against them. And then Kamala comes to his rescue. I love this. She jumps out of the window, superhero landing, and then forms this giant shield, right? And I love this. And then they shoot the sonic cannon that blows them both away. And then we get one of my favorite scenes of the entire episode, when she says "Mbiggen," and then we see her arms and her legs get huge. She's covered in her Nor powers. It's so fucking sick. So Abe, let me get some of your favorite moments from after she says "Mbiggen." Especially like when she fucking Hulk smashes the truck with the sonic cannon. I lost my shit, bro.
I have goosebumps just from that, James. Ooh.
Honestly, my favorite parts during that sequence was all about Cameron and how he was using his abilities, especially after she used Mbiggen and took out the sonic cannon that was fucking them up, and was a wild thing to use on kids in the first place. Like, yo!
On live, bruv. On live.
You have everybody watching you right now. It was like, okay. But when Cameron was, it was dope because this was the moment, like, you had to have this moment for Miss Marvel. At the end of the day, her original powers in the comics were big. You gotta still pay homage to that in some way. And they did. She just thought like, yo, I need to make it bigger. I need to be able to take on something bigger. And she did that. But when Cameron was having this fight, and when he was fucking up that one agent in front of the bus with the others that were locked up, they were like, oh, he can fight. Yeah, Cameron can fight. This Cameron can fuck y'all up. The way he's using his abilities, especially since, at this point, originally he was aiming, I'm not going to say he was aiming to kill, but he wouldn't have, if it happened, I don't think he would have felt anything. But in this instance, he's aiming to disarm and to hurt. It's just that it's still more violent because he actually knows how to fight. And I thought he was putting on a good display of beating these motherfuckers' ass. He was whooping their ass with hand to hand and his abilities. I was like, you go off, my boy, you go off. So those were my favorite parts of that scene. But I did enjoy her finally having that Mbiggen moment and her just Hulk smash into that thing. People are like, oh my God. And also, you know, when she saved the which I guess a bit later, when she saved the car from hitting all those people, even the cops started cheering for her, like, oh my God, yeah, like I was a goner. My life flashed before my eyes.
Yeah, because she's actually concerned for the lives, unlike the DODC, right? You know, like she's actually there trying to protect not only her friend, but everyone around them. I love that you brought that up. That was another one of my favorite moments. When she grabs the truck, that is another great hero moment. And you can see the look on Kamran's face where it's like, oh shit, this is not what I wanted to happen. He was very relieved when Kamala grabbed the truck. So I loved it. And it just, again, this was another way of showing how strong she is with her Nor abilities. I thought that was dope. But Vash, tossing it to you, let me get some of your favorite moments after, you know, she uses Embiggen for the first time and is actually using her powers.
I would like to bring up something right before that, is that the conversation that our boy Kamran and Kamala had. Kamran asked her, is my mom, like, what happened to my mom? And our girl Kamala said, like, hey, your mom didn't make it. It happened exactly what we said, that, you know, the whole thing, you know, destroy her and everything what happened. And he got frustrated. And I'm happy we didn't get the route, like James put in the quotation, antagonist, that our boy Kamran was a lost person. He didn't know, with his emotions and with the newfound powers, he didn't know how to handle everything. You know, finding out his mom is dead, but also finding out about him having powers now. So he's a mix of emotions. But I love how they fought for 2 seconds, but also Kamala is such a good person that she don't see him as an enemy. She sees him as a person who's lost, that he needs help. And that's what she continues to save those people in the crowd that's helping her to help, you know, the DOC, but also trying to help Kamran to get at the pier for him to go and meet with Red Dagger. So right now, that's her goal. She understands that right now Kamran's mad, he's angry, but that doesn't persuade her for her to fight him or nothing. And I love that about her character, that she did not change no matter how mad he got, no matter how much he exploded with his powers. Our girl Kamala, Miss Marvel, still continue her path to protect Kamran, but also protect the people. Because the government don't give a shit about people, because how the fuck, like H said, using a sonic boom against fucking 2 kids just because they got superpowers. Understand, they're underage. They're still not legal over the age to be arrested and be in jail in the government. So yeah, are just hitting a sonic boom against.
That's the thing about war too, right? Because if you're in a war zone, it kind of doesn't matter how old they are. If they're holding a fucking rocket launcher, I'm sorry, you're going to have to kind of kill that kid, or else that kid is going to kill so much more people, soldiers, innocents. But it's
none
like,
of these
this
were
is
holding
not,
against
this is
them.
not a war zone, bro. Like, you cannot just open
and they
fire.
treated it like it.
Yeah, you cannot just open fire on guns and sonic cannons on kids just because they're enhanced, right? Like, there has to be another way of doing
especially it. Since you're in a very urban area. Like, it's not like, oh, you have the space to do, like, no, there are local mom and pop stores nearby. There are apartments, like, people are living above these stores, and y'all are out here just destroying people's homes. Like,
and to add to that, in a directing type of aspect in this episode, I love how in these scenes we saw Kamala and Kamran fighting throughout the whole time, but we also saw the crowd and their emotions. His most important, Kamala's mom and dad reacting, how she's got her, how she's doing well, and how they also rooted for her. And they also shot scenes paneling of how Bruno, her brother, Zoe, and them reacted to how they was hoping, let's go Kamala, let's go KK. So they were all happy up and worried about her. Everyone was worried about Nightlight. Everyone was worried about what's going on. Can she get up? Can she protect herself? And also the crowd was also cheering her on. So as a direction type of episode, these scenes were matched great. Or the editing, I gotta give props to that, because it made us, as me, as the audience, actually worried. You know, I knew girl was not gonna get shot or killed, but like, okay, is like girl actually got hit, the crowd is actually like, it's just parallel very well with the emotions, and that's what I love about this part.
Yeah, I love everything about this sequence, especially when Kamran is losing control of his powers. The spikes are going everywhere. They're about to hit everyone. And Kamala embraces him in this like cocoon of power and just telling him again, I can't remember the exact line, but she's telling Kamran's like worried, like, how can I go back to being normal? Like, look at what I've done. How can people pretty much accept me, right? And Kamala pretty much told him, like, you know, like, just paraphrasing again, like, it's about what you do going forward. It's not about what you've done now. It's about what you do going forward and how you portray yourself, right? So she gives him a chance. And I have no idea what she did. Like, she punches a hole in the ground. Like, how deep is this fucking hole? How deep does it go? Is he using the spikes to, like, dig somewhere else? I don't know. I don't care. But I just thought it was a really good moment.
No, because you got to remember, you know, it's Jersey City, so the tunnel system. So probably deep enough to just get into the sewers or in the tunnels. Because we are in an urban area. If this was a suburb, to be like, yeah, where's this all this leak? But in the urban area, you know, just it was deep enough. You know, probably a couple of feet.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. Yeah. But I just love that moment between them inside of that cocoon, and she does the most important thing. A hero's journey is more than just saving people with your powers. It's saving people with your words as well. You know, talk no jutsu. Like she takes him, she's able to help him instead of him losing control even further and being arrested by the DODC. She's like, no, like, you can still turn this around. You can still be better. You can still be a better person, a bigger person. And I do think we're going to see him become a hero later on. I think we're going to see him also battling with his mother's voice in his head, because I don't think she's just gone. I think there's a part of her consciousness inside of Kamran that could potentially maybe take him over in order to complete their mission, right? But who knows? I could be grasping at straws at that one, but I just thought that was a very, very important hero moment for Kamala.
What I love about this scene, but also it works for anybody that can relate, but also for kids in this current of age, like kids in high school, because they themselves always access connect. What is normal? People that are in their own type of weird of goth, nerd, geeks, whatever it is, jocks, whatever it is. We're going to their new phase of college, and they are trying to say, like, what's my next step in life? What is normal? And for him to act like, how can I be normal? And for her to say, there is no such thing as normal, or the exact line is that there is no normal. There's just us and what we do with what we've been given. And it's such a simple line, but such a powerful line, because Kamala, who was just given this bracelet from her great grandmother, from her grandmother Sana, and she just happened to put it on, and now she just got these powers, and now wants to be help people, because this is what her parents taught her, to help others when they're in need. And this is what our girl Kamala has been given. And there's the same thing that she's teaching Kamala, like, there is no normal. I'm trying to find it myself. She even asks her parents. She even asks on the priest from the mosque. So is to know all these things, and for her also to teach somebody else about it is such a human trait that we ourselves also do. We are trying to look into ourselves, who we are, but we also give advice to people even though we don't know who we are. That's such a human thing, and that's such a teenager thing, that we all give advice to our friends, but we also don't even take our own advice. So I love that scene. It was such a simple yet powerful scene, and I love that.
Because again, they relate to each other on so many different levels. Not only do they have crush on each other, but they both are clandestines. They both understand what they're that they're different. And so Cameron is like, yo, I've only been on the negative aspect of being a clandestine, where we're always on the hunt. You know, even the Red Daggers aren't people that care about us. Remember, he was arrested with his family, and they did knock him the hell out too. Like, he has no reason to believe that people are going to fuck with him, especially since the destruction he has caused, because he's so unstable. But you have her being the other side of that coin, you know, saying like, no, you can be better. You don't have to hate. You can still do things differently. It made sense, and it was good for them to have this moment. And now what it means for Cameron's future is going to be interesting, because is he going to, we see him go off with Kamir. Is
Red
that
Dagger.
his name?
What was his name again, Vash?
Give me a second.
I thought my fault. I thought you said Kamir, I believe. But regardless, he see him going off, so it's like, all right, they're about to do something different, where usually Red Daggers versus Jin. Now it's about to be Red Daggers working with a Jin. So how will that experience shape him? I'm curious. Will he remember the words of Kamala? Especially since he wants to do things differently because he still has that crush. Or is something going to happen with him and the Red Daggers that keep him like, nah, I'm going to be on the side of like violence. Like, nah, I hate y'all because y'all did me dirty. So I'm curious, but I'm glad that
he
they
becomes a Red Dagger, but who knows?
That's my hope.
Red Dagger spikes, what? Hey!
And plus it's Kareem.
Kareem, right. I don't know why I keep forgetting that. Especially to make sure that he doesn't get too attached to this world when they're trying to go home. So I think he's very versed and educated in the Noor dimension.
More information that he could share, and he can even learn some more, maybe because you're getting the Red Dagger's perspective. Now he'll finally get an understanding of the danger that it poses to his world, his new world that he has to adopt, that his mom, like Kamala said, his mom chose you, his mom saved this world for you, because there is no going home. At least there's no safe way of going home. This is your home now. At the end of the day, like, you have to now kind of assimilate, which you have been doing, but before it was with your guard up. At the end of the day, like, we're eventually going to go back home. This is I'm just here. I'm just clocking in. But now it's like, no, this is my life, and I need to, do things differently, because he's not going to go to a traditional high school experience like he was supposed to. He's now going to be in the clandestine, a covert group. Like, it's going to be interesting, really, really interesting what we see with Cameron, and I hope we do see more of him. I think that the bits, I like the actor. I liked a lot of the scenes we got with him, between him and Bruno, him and Kamala. At the end of the day, we never got that sense of animosity from him. He genuinely did care about Kamala, teaching how to drive, first of all. And I genuinely believe, even though we were a bit ahead of that, I genuinely believe that he did tell Bruno, like, yeah, you got my car, so we're happy. I feel like he would have told him that.
He had to, because they
bonded.
He literally said,
bonded,
hey, I was Mr. Steal Your Girl, so now you could be Mr. Steal My Car.
Yeah, that's only fair. Yeah, you stole my girl, I get to keep your Porsche. That's cool.
Especially since, remember, like you mentioned, JB, when Bruno had that scene, he was like, oh, everybody like was awkward. Cameron didn't just run off. He actually turned around and thanked Bruno. He's like, thank you, Bruno. And the way he said it was like so significant to me, because I felt like for Bruno, it was just kind of like closure, like release, like, you know what, it's not meant to be, but at least this is a good dude. He's in a tough spot, but this is a good dude. So if I can't have Kamala, well, GG's. I kind of give you. It is what it is. I have no problem with her, with Cameron. So I really do think that I'm excited to see more of Cameron. I'm excited. I hope we see him again. Not soon, because when we need to, when he best fits. I can't wait to see him when he best fits.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it. I want to see him again, but only where he fits. There's no place for him in the Marvels. I don't think. Who knows if Miss Marvel will get like a second season. I don't know where he'll pop up, but I do want to see him interact with Kamala again. I think that would be a wasted opportunity for them not to meet up, even team up. You know what I mean? Like, we still have to find the other bangle. We don't know if he's going to get it, if Kamala might need Kamran's help to get the other bangle or to keep it out of the hands of whoever has it. Like, is it another Kree that has the bangle? Is that how Captain Marvel is going to be involved, because she's seen the bangle before on the arm of a Kree? Who knows? There's a lot of questions, man.
My last comment about the Cameron stuff, since we're gonna move more to the end, is I would like to see in a comic tie-in with the Red Daggers, because I know we probably is not that important or needed to have like a whole show or like a 2-episode, 4-episode of the Red Daggers, what they do. But we had like a little tie-in of a comic run with Kamran and the Red Daggers of what they do during the time of him training, of him with the Red Daggers. I would like to see that. A 6-issue run or 12-issue run. I would like to actually see some side story, a little comic run, where not everyone that knows of the MCU needs to read it, but for people like me or us, or people that want to know a bit more information about the Red Daggers or what they've been doing around the world. Why does Kareem have warrants in the US? Stuff like that. Like, I would like to see a bit more information about that in my end. That would be cool.
Yeah, it would be interesting to get a little bit more backstory on the Red Daggers, and I think we might at some point later on in the MCU. But just to put a pin in this part of the sequence, like, I just love that all of the people surround Kamala, shielding her. I love that the police show up and they shield her as well. I thought that was really, really important, giving her a chance to escape. Cleary calls Deever, fires her, and who knows what she's going to do after this. So I love that. Kamala gets away. And then the next time we see Kamala, she's in her room watching TikToks of the event, watching Zoe's TikToks and like Miguel's TikToks, and like everyone talking about, oh, how they were there at Ground Zero. They were a part of it. They were a part of something. It was really cool. Like, versus like, you know, one of the first times we saw her watching on TikTok and people were talking about her dropping the kid, and now everyone's like, you know, worshiping her, talking about how much of a good hero she is. I thought that was really, really cool. And then we get this really cool homage to Kamala looking in the mirror in the costume. She is now a full-fledged hero, and I love this, you know, complete parallel to the first episode where she was just dressing up for Avengers Con, knowing that her mom and her dad wouldn't let her go alone. She would have to sneak out just to go to something that's completely normal for everyone else. So this was one of my favorite moments of the show, just watching her in costume in front of the mirror, giving the hero pose, just embracing the fact that she is a legit hero, bro. Like, man, it's so good. So Abe, starting with you real quick, like, what did you think about this moment with Kamala looking at the TikToks and then looking in the mirror and acknowledging the fact that she's a hero?
Again, the TikToks, like I said, this felt like a Disney Channel original series more than a Disney Plus Marvel show. That whole sequence of TikToks was so dope. I mean, even with the Amon, he's like, I'm a hot dog. I'm like, everybody is having fun with this. Everybody's having fun. And we saw Zoe again. And what does Zoe say? She wants to use her platform to give Nakia and people like Nakia a voice. And now you have her wanting to be, she wants to do something more than just be some internet star. She wants to be a champion for diversity and whatnot. And it's like, that's cool. That's cool. Like, not, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh yeah, you should stay ignorant and whatnot. No, she wants to be different. She wants to change. She wants to be more tolerant. That's cool. That's cool. And they were like, nah, but that was pretty cool, though. That was pretty cool. They was bonded. It was great. It was just so fun. It just seemed like a great way to end, to really end the series. I mean, this season, because we don't know if we're going to get it. I'll say this season because we don't know if we're going to get a season 2. But I thought that it fit everything. It fit the whole dynamic, the whole, theme of the show. Like, why not? And especially the common TikTok that was going on was the kid using the light effects as if he was fighting too. It was like, yo, why not? Jersey City is proud to have their own hero. Like, how often do cities get said, yeah, this is my... No one from Gotham is like, yeah, that's my guy. Because no one from Gotham wants Batman. But Jersey City embraces Kamala. She legit has a whole city behind her. What do we like to hear in our rap music? About, yeah, I got the whole hood behind me and whatnot. Kamala got Jersey City behind her. And it's so dope. They embrace her, and it's great to see that. It's great to see that.
Vash, what about you?
One thing I would like to say, I love how the boss call and say, don't do nothing, don't say anything, just pack your things and leave. That was such a beautiful phone call. You telling her, like, yo, you did something stupid, just get the hell out of there. And like, I'm gonna have new people and I'm gonna relieve you because you just fuck up. That's one. Two, I love how the original creator of the actual series of Miss Marvel was actually in one of those TikTok videos. I was trying to find her name. I couldn't. I don't remember which one of them was there, but the original creator was there, so that's pretty dope. Saying, playing homage of Miss Marvel, like we have seen Stan Lee in all those cameos. So it was nice to see that said creators of the original series of Miss Marvel, since she did appear in 2014, so it just made sense, to have them there, play homage to that. And to see her in the first suit in the beginning of Captain Marvel, for her to go to Avengers Con, to look at herself in the mirror and see that shot, but then now in her own suit made by her mom, scarf from the Red Barrier, like her proudness. The only thing that bothered me about this is that, again, pointing back to CW, of how almost every time the hero has a chance to take off their hood or their anything, why did Kamala have every single chance to take off her mask real quick? Like, talk to her friends and everything. Like, I get it. Maybe it's the actress or maybe it's the scene, but like, why can't you just keep the mask? It's just very simple. It's not like a whole thing to cover your face or anything. But
I mean, it's not whatever. Even it's a comic book movie thing. Like, if you wear a cowl, like, you just have to fucking take it off sometimes, and it's really annoying to me as a comic book fan, but it's just like, It is what it is, because it's never going to stop. Especially for people that just wear like the simple masks, like Nightwing or Kamala. Like, bro, there's nothing for you to move. I can still see you. It doesn't constrict the way you talk. Like, it makes no sense. Like,
look, I blame Superman for that, because people think that with taking off the glasses, Clark Kent, oh my God, Clark Kent and Superman are just not the same people because of glasses. It's the same thing. Like, I need to take off the eye mask so you know it's me, because if I have it on, you may not know it's really me. And it's like,
true.
Okay. All right.
But then
that's Superman's fault.
The scene right after where our girl Kamala was outside in the porch of her own room, and her dad Abu explained of how, like, it's a very true story. Once you have a kid and you wait more years, sometimes it's very hard to have a second kid. It happens in any family. And when they finally had Kamala, and in their words, they use the word hope, or in other words, Marvel. It's not from the comics, but it is, from what I did research and from what I heard from people, it is in the correct translation. And maybe they did this on purpose to have the connection more to Miss Marvel. But also it's more beautiful, I think. I love that they added the more extra layer to her character and to her name, to have the connection of that the smile and the grin that Kamala made once she heard, wait. So I had the name of Cara Danvers the whole time of Captain Marvel.
She's such a
like
nerd.
it shows the nerd, but it shows the proudness, like to know, wait, like I had the name of Miss Marvel of Captain Marvel the whole time, and then that's how in her head, like a little nice light bulb click that she like, wait, Miss Marvel. That's how she came up with her own name, and I find that so symbolic and beautiful, which it made sense for her character, and I just love that more type of connection with her father as well, like where her father just saying like, hey, we lost all hope, but then you came along and you gave us hope, and it was such a beautiful thing. Like it gave me goosebumps. Like James said, like the more I talk about this episode with you guys, the more it makes me smile about this series, about this episode. Like, yes, it's a high school scene, it's a high school episode. It's like a slice of life type of anime scene, but it just works with the emotions. And I have to give props to the dialogue. Dialogue doesn't always work perfectly in the Marvel films. I can't wait to talk about that next week. But for this scene, for this episode, just work, and for Abu and her to just have that extra bond, and for her to find out the truth about her name, because her father did say, "Hey, do you know the truth?" Not all kids know the truth about their own name until many years later. So for her to have that connection with her dad, it's just very powerful.
Yeah, it fits perfectly. Every
Yeah.
single part of her being a hero comes from the people around her family, right? Red Dagger gave her the scarf. Her mom gave her the costume. Bruno gave her the mask, and then her father gave her the name Miss Marvel.
And
I
even
thought that was
remember the
beautiful.
logo. How the logo came about was from mom
That was from
picking up
mom
her
too. Yeah.
broken necklace. She was like, "Look, this necklace is different now because it's broken, but it fits." So absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love him just sitting there encouraging her. It's just like, yeah, like you were saying, Vash, like it took them a while for them to get a second child, and they thought that she was a miracle, so it's like they thought that she was perfect. In Urdu, Kamal means marvel, and I love that he says like, no matter what we've been through, you've always been our own Miss Marvel. And like you said, Vash, like the way she lights up, and the way that she's like, oh, this is the perfect name for me. Like, this is something so personal to me. It is my name. It's not copying Captain Marvel or
Exactly.
Marvel. This is actually my name and what it means. So it's so fucking good. And then we get the iconic moment with her sitting on the lamppost looking over at New Jersey City. I thought this was fucking incredible. Again, right off the page on into this, and I love that she's not in the city too, right? Like she's where she's supposed to be, protecting her people. Like of course if she's needed in the city, she'll be there, but I love that she's outside of the city patrolling and protecting her people. So Abe, tossing it to you, like what did you think about this moment between her and her dad, and then her like sitting on the lamppost, the iconic pose from the comics? Like what do you think about all of that?
So I mean, I just wanted to offer a correction. The name doesn't actually mean Marvel. It's one of those things where
It
you
means
can substitute
wonder.
words. Yeah,
it
you
means
can,
Yeah,
you
it
can
wonder.
means
and then
wonder.
you
Yeah,
change
sorry
it
about that.
to
Yeah, it means
But-
wonder.
which is why it's like this is their way of going about giving her name. They were
Yeah.
like, we can't, because if you make it solely based off her love of Captain Marvel, you're not giving Kamala her own identity.
Exactly, her identity.
You're stripping that away from her. So thanks for the English language for having 10 words that
And
could
it's
be
like one.
interchangeable.
So the word means wonder, and Marvel is a synonym of wonder.
Yeah, so it's like-
Yes,
because-
exactly. It works.
The English language makes it work. So because of that, it's just seamless. You got to go with this. So I appreciate it.
And
But
because our
the-
language is not really perfect either. So
but the connection, the conversation was very touching. And yeah, like you said, this is, again, I don't know too much about Miss Marvel. This is my really first deep dive into her, and so I decided to start doing research, like I mentioned last week after episode 5. And you get that iconic pose, and I'm like, Marvel is always going to pay homage and give you those that meat right there that you want. Those iconic poses, the iconic line. They're always going to give it to you. And I thought, like, yeah, let's end it just right here with her, just her feet hanging on, just chilling. This is her moment. If she is now Miss Marvel, Kamala is Miss Marvel now. We're ready. When we see her again, we're not going to see just young Kamala, just figure. We're going to see Miss Marvel. She's going to have more experience underneath her belt. She's going to be more accustomed to it. It's going to be fucking fun. It really is.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see her in the Marvels. I can't wait to watch her geek out over Carol and over Monica. It's going to be fucking awesome. So the episode ends. Well, the episode doesn't end yet, but we see one week later. And then Bruno pulls up in Kamran's Porsche. And then we see, Kamala, she runs in using her powers. And we get this great conversation. This is the moment where Bruno tells her, like, I was looking at your DNA, how it compares to your family. And there seems to be some kind of mutation. And the moment that he says that word, we hear the fucking X-Men 97 music over it, literally confirming that Kamala is the first known mutant in the MCU 616. I thought this was fucking amazing for them to make Kamala a mutant. I'm perfectly fine with them steering away from the Inhumans because you want to go layer by layer. You don't want to confuse audiences. You don't want to introduce Inhumans and mutants at the exact same time. So it's like, guess what? We know that Inhumans exist in the multiverse. They're out there. But in 616, as we know right now, the people on Earth, they're mutants. And it's perfectly fine. It works. You know what I mean? Kamala could have easily been a mutant. It works perfectly fine. And I just love this addition. And I love that Bruno's the one that tells her too. So I thought that was fucking sick. So Abe, tossing it to you. What did you think about like the confirmation that Kamala's a mutant, hearing the X-Men 97 scene music, and then the fact that Bruno told her, and that he's been like experimenting with their DNA, like looking into their DNA and shit?
Look, my number one favorite Marvel character is Wolverine. I am always Team X-Men when it comes to Avengers versus X-Men or any conflict. I'm always Team X-Men. I just enjoyed that they keep that Feige and co keep giving us like, yeah, the X-Men are coming. The X-Men are coming. Like, they are coming. Get ready. We are going to give you the team that really one of the most notable, iconic teams in all of comic book history. The X-Men, everybody knows the X-Men. You can't meet anybody who doesn't know the X-Men. I feel like that's just, at that point, where do you live? Have they cut off access to reading comics? Have you lived under a rock, right? So I know people were upset because Miss Marvel's technically an Inhuman, and this does not take away from that, only because if you remember in comics, the Inhumans came later. Mutants were the first, and the term mutants is used in a broad way as well. We can find out later that, it's just like, no, Kamala, you actually aren't a mutant. You are something different. You are an Inhuman. We just didn't have a term because no one knew what an Inhuman was. But the term mutant is so common and just in normal lingo for anybody who's into the sciences and whatnot. You always hear the word mutation, which is what he said.
But I don't think they're going to use the term Inhuman until we introduce the Terrigen Mist. Until that happens, Feige's not going to do it a different way.
And that could end up being different. They could be like, whether we get a new backstory about the Terrigen Mist, be like, yeah, Kamala was introduced to it. Who knows? But if they want Kamala to be like the first known mutant in the MCU, what's wrong with it? I mean,
you made it this far. Like the comics. There's nothing.
You made it this far with all this retconning.
There's nothing in the last 15 years of the MCU that fits with comic continuity. So why are you still bitching about it? Like, it's a different fucking universe from the comics. Like, things are allowed to be different. Hey, guess what? In Multiverse of Madness, Carol Danvers isn't fucking Captain Marvel. It's Maria Rambeau. It's a different universe. Things can be different. Get over it.
About that.
Exactly, like, get over it. Captain Carter's is the fucking Cap. She got the super soldier serum. Who cares? It's different from the comics. Who cares?
So, it's for me, it just made me excited because, again, Feige, Marvel, you keep telling us that X-Men are coming, and that's what I care about the most. I cannot wait to see the X-Men. I can't wait to see who's playing Wolverine, whether they go the route of having a Logan or they go the route of Laura Kinney. I cannot fucking wait. When we get the X-Men, we get some really, really fucking good stories there, which is what I care about. I can't wait to see the storytelling we get with that crew, especially Merc. Thank you again. The Mutant Registration Act. When we get that into effect, we really gonna dive into some topics. And then when we get Avengers versus X-Men, we really about to have people picking sides and shit. And I'm already letting you know right now, no matter what happens, I'm Team X-Men all the way. At the Avengers. Just because y'all got the Avengers first don't mean shit. At the Avengers, we X-Men over here. We X'd out over here, baby. We X'd out over here.
I was
That's
always
what we
more
on.
partial to the X-Men than the Avengers.
Exactly. That's what we on. Magneto, where you at? The Brotherhood, where you at? Hellfire Club, where you at? I can't wait.
But Vash, what about you? What did you think about getting the confirmation about mutations and Kamala being the first actual defined mutant in the MCU, the X-Men 97 theme, all of that? What did you think?
I kid you not, when I first saw the episode, I did not hear the 97 theme. In my second rewind, as when I heard it, I was like, shit, how did I miss that? But also, it's been years, but also it was on a low volume for the reason, it's just to have it in the background noise. It was dope to hear. But also, great marketing, because, Marvel's going to the Comic-Con for the first time in 4 years. So they either time it correctly for them to bring back news for the Marvel Studio X-Men revival of the 97, and also have this on the week before they go to Comic-Con. So this was great marketing and know how to time things correct. So Kevin Feige and whoever decided to release it, hey guys, let's release it 6 weeks before our Comic-Con. So once we have the 6th episode and then boom, Comic-Con, we drop all this shit. And look at that. So
it's literal genius.
They know what they're doing.
About to be crazy. Next week
they know what they're doing.
Crazy.
Damn, should we actually review Thor for next week? Because that last year's going to drop next week. That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but the show is before
to my head.
the weekend's activities, because all that stuff is Saturday. All that stuff comes out Saturday.
Twitch stream. That's a good Twitch stream right there. Sorry, that's a whole thoughts in my head. That's popping up. I'm gonna continue the conversation. But the mutants. So the route they could go, like Abe said, that right now she could be called the first mutant in our MCU. But just like they did in the comics, Wolverine said that she might not be a mutant and told Kamala to go to the Inhumans, and that's when the Inhumans told her, hey, you're actually an Inhuman like us, you're not a mutant. So that could also be a future plan in the MCU where they could include that.
Dumb.
I'm not saying
dumb though.
But if they want to play homage to her introduction to how she was introduced as an Inhuman in the comic.
Why?
It all depends on how they use the term.
Who does this homage serve? She's a mutant and she already has her powers. Everything that we see now is just additions to that. We gain nothing by paying homage to the Inhumans.
But it plays to the exposition to introduce the Inhumans to the MCU of the 616 that we know, is what I'm saying. They place the exposition to her character, Kamala. I'm not saying that it will happen, but I'm saying a possibility of how they can introduce Wolverine, these other characters, the Inhumans, Black Bolt, and other these of how they could, they've been here the whole time. Behind the moon or something.
Mutants and humans. Quicksilver does marry an Inhuman, and they have a child. Luna, I believe, she goes by, or Lunella, something like that. I forget. And but again, I'm completely pleased with them using the word mutation and doing that. That was cute. That was really cute by them. It was just like,
Yeah, it's
I had a
like,
grin.
it's like
I had a
just
grin on my face the whole time. I
fucking
was happy.
get over it. She's not a
Yeah.
fucking Inhuman. There are no ties to Inhumans. It's not fucking happening. Get over it.
And not
Like,
now.
You
That's
got
later.
you got
That's down the
Inhumans in
road.
838. Get over
Yeah.
it. Like it's okay. She doesn't have to be a fucking Inhuman.
She
There is
Or-
nothing about her Inhuman origins that adds anything to Kamala's story going forward. There are no benefits at all.
For that reasoning, again, for people that are mad on the timeline that why they said mutation or whatever it is, if you are mad, again, the MCU is an adaptation. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio of source material
It's one
like an
universe
anime
of
or
an
anything like that.
infinite number. Get fucking over it.
So
Yeah.
in this universe, we know her as a mutant. We'll find out if that changes in the next 5 years. So you can hold your comments, you can hold your tongue, or get mad however you want.
No, that's not happening. Kevin Feige is not going to make her a mutant only to make her an Inhuman later. That's fucking stupid. They literally had an entire show. If they wanted to introduce Inhumans, they would have just made her a fucking Inhuman on the show. They already have the Kree. It wouldn't have taken long to introduce the Terrigen Mist. She's not a fucking Inhuman. She's never going to be an Inhuman. Get over it. I'm not saying that they can't introduce Inhumans. Kamala is not going to be an Inhuman. She's a mutant. Get over it. It's not happening. They had it's not like she was introduced in a movie. This is a fucking 6 hour
Very planned.
TV show that leads to her being called a fucking mutant. She's not an Inhuman. It's not going to happen later magically. Kevin Feige is not going to retcon her being a mutant to make her an Inhuman later. That's fucking stupid. It wouldn't fit any kind
Talk
of
your
narrative.
shit.
Stop. Just
Talk your
fucking
shit.
stop. Get over it. Like, get over it. There's no fucking Inhumans right now. Get over it. So you're telling me, oh, we're going to make her a mutant now, but in 5 years when we introduce the Inhumans, oh, now she's an Inhuman because that's how it is in the comics. They had 6 hours to do it and they didn't. She's not a fucking Inhuman. Get over it. I digress. It's just annoying because I've just seen so much bullshit on the timeline. It's like, dude, it's not the comics. It's okay. Get over yourself. It's not the fucking comics. It's okay. She
But we
doesn't
also
have
know.
she doesn't have to be tied to the fucking Inhumans, bro. It's okay. Wanda is not tied to the fucking X-Men. It's okay. It's okay.
That is the other thing too. As far as we know, she isn't. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
eventually we
Now,
will, but,
now
you know.
because there are mutants, and we know that she had her powers way before she ever came in contact with the Mind Stone. Sure, she could be a mutant. You know, that's definitely something that they could say, oh yeah, this is the explanation. She had powers back then because she's a mutant, right? Like, that's something that you could do.
Yeah.
But let's get into the end credit scene. I thought this end credit scene was sick. We see Kamala fall back on the bed, and her bangle starts lighting up different colors. She gets up, and then she kind of like morphs, and then she goes, her body throws into her fucking closet door, and then out of the closet comes Carol fucking Danvers, bro. I thought this was really, really cool. Again, we talked about this earlier on in the episode, where it's like, this is like a cool homage to where we've seen the Negabands has the ability to make the wearers switch positions, right? So this unfolds a lot of questions about Captain Marvel. Where was she in this moment? Why did she switch with Kamala in this moment? What was going on with the bangle with whatever Captain Marvel was doing? There's a lot of questions. So Vash, tossing it to you first. Like, what did you think about this scene? Did you expect to see Captain Marvel? Were you excited? And what do you think happened in the switch?
Well, I did say that theory last week, so I do want to be proud to say that I did say we might see Captain Marvel at the end. When it actually happened, I'll be like, shit, I was actually right. Like, this was one thing I did not expect.
The Marvels is coming. I think it would be kind of idiotic to not think you would see
exactly.
Captain Marvel.
Like, I didn't expect Captain Marvel, but if that makes sense, like, I expected her, but not expected her. Like, I thought some type of reference or her in space. I didn't expect the type of sequence we got. Is what I meant. It's like more, I didn't expect Kamala to be transported wherever the hell she transported in space or whatever planet. And the Captain Marvel just literally must have like some type of weird anxiety right there because she literally saw OD pictures of herself in a little girl's room. She's like, what the fuck? Like, if this was like a sometimes PG-13 or rated R, Cara Danvers would have probably said, like, what the fuck? Why is there so many pictures of me right here? This is kind of crazy.
Oh, I know she was definitely creeped the fuck out.
Yeah, trust me. Anybody that literally just transports you and you literally see pictures of yourself, drawings of yourself, you'll be like, what the fuck? Where did I just jump into? And then I love her reaction because you're just like, okay, I'm in a little girl's room who's a fan of me, but then she literally dipped because she also realized the girl that I just transported with is literally where I'm at, and she was probably in a battle or who the hell knows. But I'm curious as to like, how did they have a connection with Cara Danvers? Like, is her powers connected to the bangle? Is Cara Danvers checking with the 10 rings type of, like, the beeper? Because like, what is all this connection? Because last time we saw Cara Danvers was in the Shang-Chi post-credit, and she said, I will look into that. Did she actually go look into that and actually probably got into trouble, fought some Kree, fought some people, and then she probably got into some Kree technology, and then the Kree technology got her transported in with Kamala? It's a mix of questions, but that's the point of the Marvel. Are we gonna get like a comic issue run to explain, or are we literally gonna get the first 10 minutes or 20 minutes of the film and explain all what the hell just happened that we don't know, or are we gonna get a time skip and probably flashback? Because we have a lot more questions than answers here in this only one post-credit scene. Because I think this is a post-credit scene in the whole Phase 4 that we have the most questions of, other than the Eternal scene. But this was like, what just happened? Like, what literally just happened? Abe?
So hear me out. She was on Krakoa having dinner with the X-Men, and now her and Kamala have switched places. So Kamala's on Krakoa. We're going to find out Krakoa is a planet. It is not an island. It is a planet, and the X-Men have been there this whole time. That's where she is. But in all seriousness, I thought it was cute, just to further tie in. At the end of the day, we've constantly been seeing Carol Danvers. Carol Danvers is damn near every episode she's mentioned in some form, because this is who Kamala is a geek, is the number one stan of Captain Marvel. So to do this and to use this as the tie-in, as like, yeah, so in the Marvels is probably going to be like, yo, what has happened? I genuinely do believe that Carol was possibly investigating the 10 rings technology and seeing what the connection is. And like you mentioned, JB, you strongly feel like this is still tied into the Kree. Well, this would make sense for why they switched, because as far as we know, Carol isn't wearing anything that would be similar to what Kamala has. So what does this mean? Especially, what does this mean now that you're telling us that Kamala is a mutant? Does this mean that Carol is a mutant? What is the relation between mutants and the Kree? There are so many questions, and I'm really excited for when we get the Marvels. I don't know why I decided to go this route, but they're doing such a better job of giving me setup for the Marvel family as compared to Shazam, because Shazam #1 was goddamn atrocious, and Shazam #2, I don't care what happens, it's still going to be atrocious to me. But at least the Marvels will give me something better. We're going to get the Marvel family, and we're going to see how it all connects, because clearly you just don't think it's only Carol and Kamala. There's going to be others. We're going to learn more, and I'm excited to see that. And you said Vash was supposed to come out in 2023, so we're not even that far off. It's happening within the next year maybe.
In the next 9 months, because
next 9 months. Oh shit!
It's in February. It's in February, the movie.
Oh, well, there we go. So by February, I'm gonna have my answers. I'm excited. I liked it. It fit. It was cool.
Hey, small possibility we might get a first trailer next week, because we are already less than 9 months away. So small chance we might get a trailer next week.
No.
I don't know. They've been coming out with trailers a lot later than
which
recently.
I know, which I'm no problem.
Very close.
Love and Thunder
the reason
got its first trailer like what, a month,
3 months
and a
ago?
half out.
Yeah.
Maybe some shit
But
like that.
Movies are they seem to be
The
working
reason-
like a 3-month time span. But I still believe she's on Krakoa, and Krakoa is the planet. You know, that's what. And if it happens, I'm gonna feel myself. I'm gonna be. But yeah, no.
But the reason I say that is because with next week being Comic-Con and Marvel is being there as standing Comic for the first time in years, and Ms. Marvel just finished last week. This will probably be Kevin Feige transition. But like, hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that post-credit scene from Ms. Marvel. Guess what? Right here's a trailer of the Marvels next year. You know, knowing Kevin Feige and knowing how he likes to hype up, and knowing he probably knows the word of mouth of how Phase 4 is for some of the audience. Maybe he would like to hype shit up, saying, "And this is the end of Phase 4. This is what we, what we're gonna bring you: She-Hulk, Black Panther, and then the Marvels from what you guys saw last week." So I don't know, like, I'm just thinking in the marketing aspect. Yes, possibly we might not out, and we probably have to wait
because
like until November. But
I
still,
think we'll get a teaser, like a first look where we'll get we'll see like 30 seconds of the three of them on screen, like
because we're getting Black Panther next week. We're getting the first peek at Black Panther, but then also they're going to talk about X-Men, and Feige knows this is the two biggest news that everybody's going to lose their shit. So you drop Marvel, is going to be like, yeah, but you gave us an X-Men sneak peek at the side. We saw Black Panther. We saw some stuff about Namor. I feel like that's adding too much into what your announcements are going to be. But, maybe we could still get a teaser. I mean, but like you said, JB, they've been more waiting to do promotional stuff. Like, with the fact that we've just now seen what Namor will look like and whatnot in the movies about 3-4 months out. I think they're going to wait until around October, maybe right after Black Panther 2 drops. We'll start to see some more stuff about the Marvels because they want to ride their wave. They don't want to pull anything away from the big project. I'm not saying the Marvels isn't a big project, but
I think we'll definitely get
X-Men,
a teaser, though.
Marvels, X-Men, Marvels.
I don't even think we'll get that much X-Men stuff because I think what we're gonna get is Secret Wars shit. I think we're gonna get more like, well, not specifically Secret Wars, but we're going to get more things that lead towards Secret Wars. Like we'll get maybe a first look at Secret Invasion, because they've been filming for a minute now. So we'll get a first look at Secret Invasion, maybe a teaser for the Marvels. Like, go ahead, Vash.
I was gonna say, I heard the saying we might get Quake from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I haven't seen a single reputable source that said anything about that, so I'm not paying attention until I see that come from an actual source.
Because then
I would love it, but I haven't seen a single real source say that.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Because
not a single one.
If it's true, then I have to go and actually finish Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. lost me at some point.
And the people reporting it, they haven't sourced anyone. Yeah. So it's like this is a non-starter. I mean, I would love to see her come back as Quake.
Oh, of course, me too. And chat, I don't have any secret launch for this conversation, so I don't have no friends that's working there. So I'm not trying to also say something either. Okay. So no, I have no knowledge of anything of this conversation about.
This is all Quake. Pure speculation.
Yes, and thank you for saying that. This is pure speculation.
To bring in Quake, well, then you have to introduce the Inhumans, right? This is another reason why I don't think like that's the case, right? Like
unless they make Quake a mutant,
right? Kevin Feige is very smart with the way he lays out things, right? When we saw the first phase, we started off on Earth with Iron Man, we got a little bit galactic with Thor, we got some Norse mythology, all of that shit. We learned more about, we got the 9 realms, we got Guardians of the Galaxy expanding our galaxy itself. It makes sense. Everything has been coming in a sequence. We got the announcement of X-Men 97. We got to see Charles Xavier. We heard the X-Men theme in Multiverse of Madness. Kamala's a mutant. Namor's a mutant. That is the direction that we're going in. So if you do bring in Quake, that would be cool. You could kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Maybe you write something in where Quake brings in the Inhumans. Maybe, who knows?
But it's a little too much at the moment,
Right. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know about that report. It would be really cool. I would love to see her show up. She was one of the only good parts that I liked about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know what I mean? But it's like the reason why I don't think it's happening is because Kevin Feige has been seeming to like he wants to stay far away from Inhumans right now. Again, he had a 6-hour series about an Inhuman and didn't introduce her as an Inhuman. She's not a fucking Inhuman. So it's just like we'll see what happens at Comic-Con. I'm very excited for that. But let me get your overall thoughts. Abel, I'll start with you. What are your overall thoughts on Miss Marvel? Specifically, like where does it rank within the other MCU Disney Plus shows for you?
It is 6 on my list because we're at a total of 7. So it is 6, right above Hawkeye and right behind, I believe, if I remember my list correctly, it would be behind Falcon and Winter Soldier, I believe. Yes. It was a good show. The replay factor, I don't think this is a show I'm going to rewatch anytime soon.
Interesting.
Because for me, it gave me its purpose, and I don't need to see it again. I don't need to rewatch it. It's not like, because I'm not the type to rewatch family dramas anyway. You know, I don't. If I'm gonna rewatch something, it's gonna be something that's horror, a thriller, something that gets the blood pumping and gets me into like, hey, yeah, life is in danger type shit.
Damn,
your life is in danger. Basically, but I still enjoyed it, and I still encourage anybody to watch it. It is a good show. For what it served. It was a good, like I said, Disney Channel original series with a Marvel skin. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what I learned from it. I enjoyed the emotions it brought out of me. I enjoyed this wholesome content. You know, maybe if I have kids, I'll throw it on. I'll introduce my kids to, here's Miss Marvel. Let's watch this together because this is very kid friendly. You know, it just spoke to a different audience at the end of the day. That is not me. This is not my general taste when it comes to shows. But it was still good. It was still good. If I gave it out of a scale of 10, it'd be a 6.57 for me. You know, and that's not a bad score for me. I like a lot. There's a lot of stuff that I like that's in the 7 range that are still enjoyable. Doesn't mean it's a bad show, because I know that's why I don't like to use numbers often too much, because people are like, oh, 7, yeah, that shit mid, that shit trash. It's like, I ain't saying that. I'm saying this is good. It is good. It is a good show.
It just gets
Things
me
are
mad.
either trash, mid, or masterpiece. Or peak. Yeah. So it's like, dude, 7.5. That's a passing grade. It means it's
Thank
good.
you. Mid
it means
is 5.
It's good, but it's
know
not
your math.
amazing. Like,
It gets me mad when people say that.
But
Mid, I'm
Vash,
like,
where does it rank for you amongst the other Disney Plus shows?
ranking wise, it is number 4. I thought it was number 3, but I don't think I've said my ranking recently over the past couple of months. I would say is Loki, WandaVision, Moon Knight, and Ms. Marvel, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Hawkeye, and What If at that. That is my current of the 7 shows of the Disney Plus. For those wondering, What If, why is it last? I'm like, it's great. I love What If. Each episode has its own story, Doctor Strange and everything, Party Thor, everything. But What If is not important to always rewatch or part of the continuity of the 616 Marvel MCU universe. It's more of the multiverse. So that's why it's not high on my list as a Disney Plus show, because it doesn't connect to our storyline like Hawkeye, like Moon Knight and everything. And as much as like people know, Anime Lady, I'm a big fan of animation overall. But again, What If doesn't really contribute to what we know. It's like the Watcher says, this is the what if of other characters that had some different possibilities. But overall thoughts, this is for like Ape said, it's an 8 out of 10. People could think that's still mid. I don't know what is, but it's 8 out of 10 to me. It's great. The camera shots, the direction shots, the panel shots, the editing, and the dialogue was great in most of every single episode. Again, the one thing I would say, the con, Marvel, stop doing fucking 6 episodes. Yeah, I need to just write the story on what you need. And if y'all gonna do 6 episodes, don't just do 30 minutes episode. It's not a short episode. Do those 45 minutes to an hour. That's a full hour episode. Because I hate it when y'all promote saying we have a 6-hour series. No, that's a fucking 4 hours and 22-minute episode. Like
episode 5 was 36 minutes. It's like, hold on, what? Not even really 36 minutes. Like, come on now.
Episode 5, Abe, was 31 minutes and 25 seconds. I remember that because I was mad at seeing those. Yes, I'm one of those people that work in production. I would love to see my post-credit scene. Sorry. I love to see my name on the credits. I'm going to see my name on my credits in 3 months on the show I work on. I'm going to be excited to see my name pop up on credits in Netflix. And I can tell my family, everyone, that's my name on the damn credits. But at the end, if you're going to write the story, write it for what it is, not for what you want to do. The count of episode, the budget. Because if you are going to do a budget for 6 episodes, put it for the length of the story. Because Najma, cool. We know her as the antagonist, but we didn't really know her as a character. She was only kind of a 1 or 2 layers. We don't know her as a full 3-layer character to know her reasoning. All we know is her son, and she's part of the clandestine, and she stabbed her maybe best friend, childhood friend. We don't know. All we know that she stabbed Aisha. All right, cool. We just know that they had a connection, and they're from the same place. That's all. We just going from our canon head. So again, it's an 8 out of 10 because I'm giving it from a guy that works in production, but also as a person, as a fan, as a critic. But if I speak like a fan and critic, I will definitely give it the same score. Like 8 is a 7 or 6.5 out of 10. But I give it that little nudge more because they did some great shots, the panel, the ideas, the dialogue, and also of those choices they did, and also the POC type of diversity and culture we saw. Marvel's expanding. People get mad about Phase 4. We don't know this character narrative. How about this? Fuck yeah. We're learning and more other people in our world. We're not just America. We have South America. We have Asia. We have every single cultures out there. So this episode, this show was great. I'm hyped for it. And I can't see more in the Marvel and whatever Phase 4 and Phase 5 is going to be expanding.
Yeah, I love Miss Marvel. I love the elements of family. I love the elements of, like you said, Vash, them taking us through another culture and us experiencing that and not shying away from some of the not so great parts of being in a certain religion or just being your race. You know, there's always going to be bad connotations that come with that. And I love that they didn't shy away from it. Much like your concerns, I have issues with the fact that I think the DODC, they were kind of just like jokes running around with badges. They didn't really seem like a threat, just like idiots with guns, and that could have been on purpose, and if it is, then they succeeded. But I didn't really feel, you know, I mean, there is a threat, but I didn't really feel any sense of dread at any moment during those moments.
They are our stormtroopers in the MCU.
It's like I didn't feel any dread from them, and like you were saying, I didn't get anything from Najma and any of the clandestines. Like, you brought them in, we're learning about them, they're fighting against Kamala. You have this big thing with Kamran turning against them in order to protect Kamala, and then like I guess like they're just dead. Like you don't learn anything about them. There's nothing to care about. You don't really feel the threat besides the fact that we know opening the gate will eventually destroy our reality. That's really the only threat. The clandestines don't actually feel like a threat, but that's kind of an MCU problem. They don't always make their villains the most compelling, the most interesting. They're just there to get the protagonist from point A to point B. Even Feige has said that shit. So it kind of is what it is, but it was a little underwhelming for me. But Miss Marvel would be number 5 for me. And that's, I mean, I still love the show, but I just love the others just a little bit more. I would go Loki, WandaVision, Moon Knight, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Miss Marvel, Hawkeye, What If. Love Miss Marvel. I fucking cried like 3 times during episode 5 of Miss Marvel. I think episode 5 of Miss Marvel is one of the best episodes of any of the Disney Plus shows, if I'm being honest. It's definitely up there for me, like top 10 episodes out of all the shows. I thought it was absolutely fucking incredible, you know. But like I said in the beginning, they've just been killing it with these shows, and it being 5, again, it's not a bad thing. It's just that I get a little bit more out of the other shows over this, just a little bit more. To grade Miss Marvel, I would easily give this a 4 out of 5. The only reason why it's not a 5 is for the things that I mentioned. The clandestines and the DODC, they're just not interesting. They're not menacing in any way, shape, or form, besides, you know, the DODC being a bunch of idiots with guns. which is terrifying. But like I don't feel any sense of dread from them, but it's an MCU problem. But I absolutely love Miss Marvel. I can't wait for She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. I can't wait to see where the rest of Phase 4 goes. We're leaning more towards Secret Wars. We're getting Secret Invasion. That's going to be fucking sick. So I'm really, really excited for where the MCU's headed. I think there's a clear goal. Again, Phase 4 is pretty much like the season 2 of a show. Like, this is where we're getting deeper into characters, character building, world building, I believe Merck said earlier on. Like, there's a bunch of great shit that we're getting right now, and I can't wait to get more of it.
All hail Riri Williams. I cannot wait for Ironheart. I'm so
Right?
I started reading her comics with Invincible Iron Man. And I'm like, yo, it has to be so geek. I cannot wait to see her. I cannot wait. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man. I can't wait. I also can't wait to see, like, if she's going to have any connection to Tony. Not like she's met him or anything, but is he some kind of inspiration of some kind, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's definitely something I would be interested in. But any other final thoughts before we wrap up for the night?
That's it for me.
Hey, for any of my friends, if y'all gonna go to different countries, just let me keep your Porsche, all right? Just saying, I don't got a car right now, so if y'all want to just pass me your Porsche, I'll drive it very well. I appreciate y'all.
I thought I would have. It would have been better if you said any of my friends who are on the run.
That too, yo. If y'all
leave me your shit, you feel me? You can leave me your shit. I'll take good care of it.
I'll take care of your car. I'll put the gas mile. I'll pay the insurance, or if you can't, just pay the insurance in the meantime for me. You know, that'd
not
be great.
you. Not you being on the run and still paying for the insurance. Like, hello.
But Abe, tell the people where they can find you online.
Well, you guys know who it is. It's your boy Prince A Lawal. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Prince_ALAWAL. You know, I stream every Wednesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. Been having a lot of fun. I'm a variety streamer, but I do play a lot of Dead by Daylight, and I've started playing a lot of Killer, and it's been fun getting to fuck people up. But I'm a friendly killer, mind you. YouTube page is coming soon. Been working on that. You can also catch me here. Of course, I'm careful with spoilers. You can definitely catch me on Anime Lately. And check out these SSAW podcast if you love sports, like Cover Zero, Diamond Talk. I sometimes make guest appearances, but those are some of my clients I edit for. And I look, I'm just, you can follow me on Twitter, same username as my Twitch. I like to talk about anything: anime, manga, literature, poetry, video games, whatever, sports especially. So I'm down for whatever. I'm friendly. I don't bite. Don't listen to what other people tell you about me. I do not bite. I'm actually a very.
He does get mad.
I'm a sweetheart.
He'll bite if you ask him to.
Yes. And
y'all,
licks too.
Y'all are wild.
But he has his vaccines, so no worries.
Wild. But yeah, you can catch me almost any platform. My hands involved, anything. You know, shout out to all of those organizations that I named. I've been having a lot of fun getting to work with them behind the scenes and, you know, in front of the camera. But y'all make sure y'all have a good one. It's your boy, the son of Dark Side, the Mad Prince himself, the Kang variant, the son of Laburu, all of that. It's all good and vibes. So appreciate y'all.
Vash, where can the people find you?
Definitely go check out Abe OnlyFans too, where he bites a lot
too.
Oh,
not the OnlyFans, not the OnlyFans.
But on all serious though, you can follow me at Legendary Vash everywhere else on the Recast Cast podcast. Go check that shit out because it was a fire episode. Kind of weird, having some type of similarity with James and Steve picks. Kind of throwing me off like, damn, we've done the show so long that we have some picks very similar. So it was a pretty cool experience. It was hard. I will admit to that. Anybody that does a full show to recast a full team, that was like hard as hell. Like you put some brain process in that. And I appreciate anybody checking out Anime Lately. We're doing Shonen Ronin probably this Tuesday to cover Chainsaw Man as well. So it is back. Depression is back. So we're gonna see and have that conversation. And overall, guys, check out C4S because you know why? You could check out a Twitter post of Winnie a Pooh in a horror. Just what the fuck, man. Other than that, James just has that follow up.
Yeah, check out Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, whenever that comes out. Like this weird horror reimagining on Winnie the Pooh, dude. I think I'm actually gonna watch it. Like whenever it drops, like I'm definitely gonna watch it. It should be.
I will just
interesting
for the
for sure.
brand. I'll do the review with you just to be like, what did I watch? Why?
It
What?
feels like a movie that should be dropping on Tubi or Pluto's
Yes!
TV, one of them streaming apps. That's the type of vibes I'm getting from just looking at the poster. Because what the fuck? Who asked for this?
No
Who
lie,
asked for this?
I'm shocked that Keel Peele is not part of it because I feel like he would probably do some wild shit with that.
You know, there's
Oh
a
my
there's
God.
a TV show that took like old stories and fables and like actually takes it back to the horror or roots of these stories, because all of these Disney stories, they all come from
You
tragic.
talking about Grimm?
I think that's what it's called.
Grimm?
It's no,
Yeah, that's
no,
my
it's
shit.
no. There
Not
is
Grimm?
Grimm, but there's a completely different show
Okay.
that takes the one
Much
with the
darker.
3 pigs. Like they take
Once Upon a
stories
Time?
like they take stories like that, and then they like take it back to the horror origins. I can't remember what the name of the
Okay.
show is, but they do stuff like this shit all the time. And doing it with Winnie the Pooh as like a reimagining, sure, fuck it. I'll watch Winnie the Pooh hack some people up, like people trying to steal his
Lord.
honey, and he's gonna hack him up. That should be fun.
My
But
God.
you guys can follow me all over social media at JB Exclusive. You want to find absolutely everything that I do, go to carefulforspoilers.com. You'll find the recast cast, like Vash mentioned. We recast the entire cast of the Justice League. It was so much fun to do that. We did Fantastic Four as well. They've done Disney's Hercules, Pirates of the Caribbean. They've got 6 episodes up on the channel right now, and so much more coming in the future. Make sure you guys
And the
come
X-Men.
back. And the X-Men, yeah. So make sure you guys come back next week, where we will be reviewing Thor Love and Thunder. I'm not really sure, how I'm going to feel about the film after I see it a second time. I'm still confused as to what exactly I saw. It's definitely a film, for sure, but I'm not really sure if I like it or not. But yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed and keep it locked to Careful for Spoilers for more lit content in this area. After we do Thor Love and Thunder, we're going to be ranking the Star Wars movies, and I'm going to try to come up with some more interesting Star Wars content leading into the Andor series coming at the end of August, and then She-Hulk is going to be August 17th. So we got a lot of great shit coming for you guys. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
And we out of there.